Hi, Dunji. Welcome to GITEX 2025. It's great to have you. This is Docusign podcast. It would be great to have a short introduction about yourself on Docusign.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thanks for the invite and thanks for hosting me today. My name's Dunji Bilimoria. I'm responsible as the VP of Channels in EMEA for Docusign. I joined the business, as you know, a couple of months ago. So it's an exciting time for me, an exciting time to be here with Docusign and also here in GITEX in the Middle East, where obviously there's a huge amount of excitement in tech generally, but especially, of course, with the advent of AI. Seems like AI everywhere. AI everything and everywhere is the theme this year.
Absolutely. So maybe can you tell us how does Docusign help customers turn their agreements into a competitive advantage?
So, if you think about any kind of commerce or transaction between multiple parties, typically two or more parties, it revolves around some form of agreement. You know, everything we do in life, and for many years it's always been a manual process. So, if you think about in IT, when people are closing orders and they're closing transactions with one another, often the agreement is the end result of a sales cycle, and it involves an intensive level of interaction and engagement back and forth in a very manual way to create and formulate the agreement. So DocuSign's entire premise is around, let's digitize that first of all and make that entire flow back and forth more effective and efficient. So by driving efficiency by having electronic agreements and e-signature at the end of it, you're really optimizing the workflow and the efficiency with which you can get business done. So that's kind of the premise of what we do. Of course, we do a lot more, but that's the premise of the whole digital e-signature story.
Brilliant. And you were just mentioning in the introduction that AI is definitely a big theme here at GITEX. What is your perspective on some tangible ways it impacts business today?
So I think there are two ways I can answer that question. I'd start by saying that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the introduction, at GITEX here, everything is AI. It's funny, you've got PC manufacturers and printer manufacturers all the way through to large enterprise software vendors, and every stand has some form of AI. I think the reality is it's a little bit of a buzzword, but I think clearly there's a big drive behind it, and there's a lot of interest in how companies can use AI to improve their efficiency and effectiveness. So it's a little bit of the same old story in terms of I want to increase my revenues and I want to do it in a more effective, efficient way, so reduce my costs. And so I think a lot of companies are still struggling to figure out what's the holy grail? What does it mean? Beyond more intelligent search, beyond automation and bots. You'll hear that, you'll hear the notion of bots a lot. And that's where you're taking the notion of what AI brings in terms of its substance and automating the mundane functions and automating that in a way that allows people, the human aspect, to be freed up to do other things. So we've seen a lot of that.
Absolutely.
And we have a big role to play in that as well.
Yeah. And today we're on the Ingram, we're hosted by Ingram for this podcast. And so obviously there are a lot of partners around. Which unique opportunities is Docusign bringing to the partner ecosystem here in the Middle East?
So first of all, in the Middle East, we're probably less penetrated in terms of the marketplace than in other places in the world. So there's an opportunity by definition there. We have a lot of white space we can go after. Secondly, if you look at this particular region, it's been a buzzing region in terms of inward investment and development for many years, as Dubai tries to become a finance center of the Middle East, tourism center of the Middle East, everything center of the Middle East. And so as a consequence of that, there's a huge amount of construction. So if you take, for example, the construction industry, construction involves huge amounts and different types of agreements. supplier agreements, employee agreements, manufacturing agreements, various types of vendor agreements, government agreements. So as a consequence of that, our partners have an opportunity to really capitalize on that whole digital transformation journey through agreement management, and also to provide integration into various other complex systems, whether it's CRM platforms, ERP platforms, or other types of platforms that organizations have. So it's a huge opportunity for us and our partners to really capitalize on that side of things. And then another aspect of this is that as Dubai becomes established as a commerce center in the world, and a bridge between East and West, what you'll find is that there's a lot more governance starting to creep in. So a lot more compliance and governance that needs to be managed and effectively managed. And guess what? A lot of that is tied to agreement management as well. So I think there's huge amounts of potential opportunity in different markets, our traditional markets where we play, like financial services, but all the way through to travel, identity verification, and also things like the hospitality and construction industry.
So definitely a wide territory for partners.
Massively wide.
Yeah.
Massively wide.
As we wrap up, GITEX is definitely about innovation, announcements. Any specific announcements our audience listening to us should be aware of for this year?
Yeah, so actually we had, it's funny you say that. So there's a very big Salesforce event taking place right now in California.
Yeah.
And this week we won the 2025 Innovation Excellence Award. So what was that exactly? So let me try and explain in a nutshell. So Salesforce, like many other organizations, large, very successful, large SaaS-based enterprise vendor, has been pushing a product of theirs called Agentforce, which is really about bot-based technology that automates some of the aspects of how you engage with Salesforce. It allows you as a Salesforce customer to go in and make inquiries on your CRM data. And what's missing in that is the agreement, right? How do I understand what agreements I have with my customers in Salesforce? So a good example of that is, if I'm a Salesforce user, I can go in and I look at my accounts and I can say, in the Agentforce bot, I can say, please pull out for me the agreements for my customers where I have a renewal event happening in the next 6 months. And you might even extrapolate further from that and say, okay, and also, by the way, tell me which customers have had more than 10 support cases in the last 12 months. And what do you do with that? So you use the integration between Docusign and Agentforce or Salesforce to provide that intelligence back to the user in the Salesforce environment. And the beauty of that is you're starting to extract value from your agreements to then support how you then sell or position the renewal event with your customers. So that's kind of an integration point. And it's one of 900 integration points roughly that we have with at Docusign with third-party products. And the other one we did, which was here in the Middle East recently with one of our nice partners called 4i, was a similar sort of interface, but into the Fusion CX platform from Oracle. And why that's important here is because Oracle has for very many years been present in the Middle East and has an extremely large footprint of customers across different industries and verticals in the Middle East. And 4i, being a Docusign partner, now has the ability to go into that customer base with its integration app and pitch a similar story. So it's an exciting time, interesting awards, but the real power will come when we are able to have self-aware agreements. And I think that's where we will head as we build out the AI platform and technology at Docusign.
Well, we can see that we have a huge road in front of us and many opportunities together with partners, together with integrations, together with customers to serve a wide range of use cases among many verticals. So thank you very much, Tanji, for driving us today through this conversation around agreements, AI, innovation, and we look forward to seeing all our audience soon for customer discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne. Thanks.